Hey guys, Ken Smith Fishing. So this is going to be another part of our conversation with Rick Pierce. If you remember in the Great Bass Boat Search of 2021, one of the things I focused on was on trailers. And Rick's going to talk today about how they build and why they build their trailers the way they do. And he's also going to show you or talk some of the things that I really found interesting was the super attention to little detail he puts into this. And one of them you're going to hear him talk about here are just bolts, and specifically in this case the bolts that hold the trolling motor to the boat. So I found that real interesting. On the end of this video, stick around. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of local Rayburn information and also talk a little bit about what's going on at the Classic next week. So here's Rick. I'll be back at the end of this as well. Okay, so you had a thought to share about my questions about bolts and screws and fine thread. Tell me what you're thinking here.
Yeah, well, we had a couple of things, and so we talked about the fact that the square drive will fit that.
Hand me that camera, Jared. Yeah. Right.
So then the next thing is the thickness of shaft. We did this on trolling motors this year. So what we did is we went to a special made cap screw and we gained shaft strength. So with all the trolling motors going up in poundage, we increased this about 30% on shaft. Because we're not threaded on the 1/4 inch, we went to a full shank bolt and had it done in a cap screw instead.
Brilliant.
So we changed the way everything goes up, and now we're not shearing these bolts off.
Are we putting that much torque on the front end of those boats with those big trolling motors?
Oh yeah, when we look at it, and that's why we're stepping the block. So this is the top side. So this is what we do on top. We take this and then we set this rubber washer in here, and that actually cushions it, and then your trolling motor's sitting on those rubbers, and so we're reinforcing it on the rubbers. We put that bolt through it, and then underneath on the back side we sandwich the deck like this through this aluminum. So we're using that 3/8 aluminum on the back side. So that's just what we do. Yeah, there's a lot of torque on them, and we're putting a lot of stress on decks, and you can still stress them.
Yeah.
But we're sandwiching everything and trying all we can to eliminate as much stress and fractures. And you've had them on your boats.
Yeah.
We've all had them on to some degree. Actually, I haven't had much trouble with it, but I always bolted mine.
And matter of fact, speaking of which, you countersink screw heads.
Yes.
Why?
Well, because of reduction of stress cracks.
It does.
Oh yeah, it just reduces them. You can't eliminate stress cracks on material because stress cracks actually, it comes back to quality of resin though. Because the stress crack doesn't happen in the gel coat like people think. It happens between the glass and the gel coat in the resin barrier where it mates to the gel.
Okay.
And so when that cracks, that resin quality, the higher quality of resin, the less cracking you're going to have.
So there is a manufacturer that I'm aware of, and you know me, I'm not going to say who.
You don't need to, yeah.
But there's one who is having significant stress crack issues. Is that likely because of their resin?
That would be my opinion.
Okay, but it's a professional guess.
There's two things it can be. Content of resin. One, they're a high resin loaded boat. So, you know, resin makes the job easy.
Okay.
So the more resin you get to a degree, the easier it is to get the air out of a product because there's more fluid.
Right.
The air, the glass is not,
sure.
It's going to trap air.
Right.
So the resin doesn't, so it's easier to get the air out. So people will flood them with resin to get more air out. And we've got really good operators that don't do that. And then the other aspect's the quality of resin. Because you can buy a product that the resin's 39% styrene, and then there's another product that they've used to eliminate that styrene when we went to the MAX standard, and that's doxycycline penadiene, DCPD. And you can buy DCPD from...
I'm sitting here going like I know, but okay, yeah.
You can buy DCPD all the way from, let's just say 500 tensile strength to 12,000 tensile strength, and it's not that high. But there's a window in this DCPD range. You can buy cheap DCPD or high quality DCPD. The low quality DCPD costs less. So the cheaper resin, they put the cheaper DCPD in, and they put the cheaper styrenes in, and and it's not a lot of money, but it's still money, and
yeah.
They're saving nickels and dimes. They're actually saving pennies.
So speaking of saving money, you know, part of my review, I focused 20% of my score on the trailer.
Good one.
And because Now, I don't put the miles on a trailer I used to, but a lot of guys do. And by the way, you've captured a ton of the pro bass fisherman market.
We got
and those guys pile miles on them like
pretty
crazy.
good segment. I don't think you've seen our new poster, but it's a pretty good segment.
A ton of guys. And every one of you guys knows the worst feeling in the world is something, you know, when you're a kid, the scariest sounds come out from under your bed. When you're an adult bass fisherman, they come from the trailer, right? It's like, what's that noise? They're out from under the cowling.
What do I hear? Yeah, check your bearings, right?
So, does it? You make your own trailers for Bass Cat? Does it cost you more to make a trailer than you could buy a trailer for?
You know, we're right next door to one of the biggest trailer companies in the world.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, really, the company next door to us is making competitive trailers for other manufacturers.
Okay. Why aren't you using their trailers?
I think we want to keep building our own.
What makes a good or a bad trailer?
Well, there's a lot of factors. We use all USA steel and always have since we started. We do welded to fit construction all the way through. So there's not anything that bolts up on the frame other than the fender and the axle and those things. Everything, cross members welded, uprights are welded, bow stops welded.
As opposed to?
Bolt up.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of people bolt their bow stops. Your winch tube's bolted to the trailer.
You know, that's funny. You talked about that. I've seen multiple guys recently with new boats, and they're breaking, what's it called?
Bow stop.
Bow stop. They're breaking those things, or they're bending those brackets that they're bolted on there with. Not a problem then. Not
a problem. We're using all 1/4-inch tube on ours. So we're trying to, and we definitely, you know, like the grab post?
Yes.
The grab post has got a piece of metal inside of it. We welded up, set the post over it, so it's actually studded to the trailer. A lot of little things. The pivot tongue, double wall tube. And the safety pin's always there. So if we break the hinges,
we'll show y'all what he's talking about, because that was something I noticed in doing Phil's boat, was that tube up there.
The first time I did a pivot tongue, I did a 3-inch. We build 4-inch now, but the first one I did was a 3-inch, and I did it for my dad. And nobody had ever done a pivot tongue. You know, I don't know of one ever being done before we did it. So Dad, I don't need that thing. And then he came back from his vacation home at Lakeport, which he spent too much time at back then. But anyway, came back. You know, I think that's the neatest thing. I can park my lawnmower in front of my boat now.
So I'm amazed how many guys are, and you know, I have the fortune that I built my own barn, but they're constricted by the length of boat they can get because of what they can get in their garage.
I tell people that when they're talking about a payment on a boat, the only reason to go $175 on a Sabre FTD is it's the biggest boat you can put in your garage.
Yeah.
Otherwise, buy $150 if you're buying them up straight. Now, we offer that LSP package with the $175. That's what everybody wants. So that's the guys buying it. Because I'm limited, I can only put so much in my garage.
What's your best-selling boat? What do you sell the most models?
Right now, probably Cougar FTD, I'd have to say. We're doing a lot of the new eras. We're doing more Lynxes in the last year.
Yeah.
Now, the first year of the Lynx, it did really well, and then it hit a lull. In the last year, last 14 months, it's done very well.
Well, and I think it's really funny. So back to the fishing forum guys, and specifically the Bass Cat forum guys. A lot of the Bass Cat guys don't like the Lynx because it's slow.
No, they want that 80-mile-an-hour pocket
and
rocket.
I'm like, dude, I'm running 75 miles an hour. So I think some of them have come to realize that maybe that width is it's worth giving up. Because look, I just had my boat checked the other day, and I think they told me my boat, 1.1% of my hours were wide open throttle.
Yeah, most people don't spend a lot of time on top. But now the really hard tournament guys, that first morning out, you know, and especially the long run guys, and I'm one of those. I'm going to run. If we're putting in at the dam, I'm going to the river.
Yeah.
If we're putting it at the river, I'll probably go to the dam. I'm just that guy. I want to get away from the crowd, and so pretty much everybody knows that. So if you're going to run an hour, you're going to stay on the throttle a lot.
A lot more, yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm that guy. I'll never forget one year I burnt a full drum, 47 gallons of oil through a boat one year. And so I was that guy.
Holy.
In my own boat. That doesn't mean what I burned here running boats, but I mean, that was just my own boat.
Yeah.
And that boat lasted me, went on to another guy, it lasted him, who fished as much as I did. And another guy after that, and the third guy was the one that popped a motor on it, and it was a decade down the line, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we started talking about trailers. So it's all welded. What else is different that you do?
Well, welded to fit. We got the grab post option. We do fiberglass fenders. We multi-bolt. We double pad.
Why do you do fiberglass fenders? Just for the look?
Just for the look. Yeah, metal's fine, but people like the fiberglass fender look, and it doesn't have.
I went back and forth.
Yeah, and a lot of guys like the fact that they can replace a metal fender afterwards. We've done a really good job of being able to have the fenders, so we have them accessible. And it's hard to get a body shop to do metal fenders because they've got to paint them. You got to do all this work and get somebody to work on it. You wind up in the end run, usually on a metal fender, costing more than a glass fender because of the paint, the body shop work, and all that to match up. There's a lot of stuff we do on a trailer. All the paint's PPG.
Which is?
Pittsburgh plate glass paint.
Okay.
It's not run-of-the-mill paint. You can buy bulk generic paint, but it's all PPG.
Okay.
Our primer's PPG, the paint's PPG, and the overlay is urethane, which is the same as the tough coat, but it's a clear coat made by PPG for us. So everything we do on that frame is PPG. It's good stuff.
And then, so I learned something actually with my fiberglass shop guy the other day. I did not know you're the only manufacturer that we know of that double carpets their bunks.
That's right. We are the only one. Now, that one in debate about, we could change that in the future. And a lot of that has to do with that quality of carpet we talked about, because it's not cheap carpet, but it retains water more too. So we're getting a little bit more water retention in there, but we like the double pad. And one of the reasons for that, and I saw a post the other day where a guy was sliding his brand Z boat, and we won't say what, brand X boat.
I was going to say, there's a Z boat out there. You gotta be careful.
Yeah, I want to be careful. Brand Y, whatever it is, you know. So you can't really miss any. But it was sliding off a trailer when they pull up the ramp, so it slides off. Well, the reason they slide off is because the guys are stopping the bunks up under the boat. So there's nothing holding in the carpet.
Interesting.
So, you know, one of our models we built years ago did that. So I'd always warn guys, hey, latch up before you pull it up the bank. And since then, we've pulled.
By the way,
back.
Rick's not saying if it's icy out not to go ahead and strap. It'll
Latch
still
your-
slide off,
yeah.
or if it's super steep.
Yeah, but latch your boat before you pull up always. But they would just, nobody does a lot of times, and they would just slide off. So these guys are frustrated, they're sliding off. All of our bunks extend past the hull. So when that double pad's there, we have very sharp chines. So we wind up needing that padding to keep that carpet in better shape, because we're going to cut that carpet, and so you want to get the bunks deep enough, but that carpet's going to get cut, and you're going to have to redo them.
I just did. Before I sold my boat, I redid it. So,
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay, so Rayburn local information. The lake has crested, it looks like, and started to come down just fractionally, but it's raining in Lufkin as I record this. This is Friday morning. It's supposed to rain all weekend. If it keeps raining, they can't pull enough water to pull that lake down. So to my knowledge right now, Castle Boykins is open. I believe Jackson Hill continues to be open. I don't know, maybe other than Powell, of anything open on the south end. I could be wrong. If somebody knows different, and not that you heard something, if you saw a ramp is open, please put it in the comments below so guys know what's open down there. There's a big kayak tournament up there this weekend, so you guys be careful. Those guys are going to be all over the place, and you're going to see some really fancy kayaks down there. And then also next weekend, let's support our local guys. The Zavala Volunteer Fire Department is having, I'm putting it right here, you guys can see it, they're having their annual fundraiser on Rayburn. We can't be there, but I would love for any of you guys that can be there to show up and help support the Zavala Volunteer Fire Department. And you see, I think Thomas is probably the contact on there. If not, it's on the page. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at it as I'm recording this. And then next week, I am going to be at the Expo, the Bassmasters Classic Expo on Friday. I'm going to kind of just be milling around, but right now my tentative plans are to be at the Bass Cat booth between 1 and 2. I'll firm that up on a video next week, but if you guys get over that way on Friday, track me down. I'd love to meet you. A lot of you I know real well, but if I've not met you, please come by and say hello. I'd love to meet you. And again, I'll firm up exactly when I'm going to be there next week, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be at 1 o'clock at the Bass Cat booth on Friday. And by the way, they've got 3 different models of boats over there, so if you want to check out some of the new cats, you can see those as well. So
Thanks, guys. We will see y'all again next week. We're going to do 3 videos. We're going to do for sure this part 2 of the Allison video. What else do we got? We got more. Oh, we got another video with Nick. I'm not sure if we'll get that up, from Mercury Racing Propellers, the Performance Propeller Manager. And then seems like we got some other stuff next week I've already got recorded, but just you'll see those as they pop up. One Monday, one Wednesday, and one Friday next week. Oh, we'll have hopefully more of the Rick Pierce videos next week too. So thanks, guys. We'll see y'all next week.